Welcome to Blueprints for Liberty, Designing the Freedom Cities of Tomorrow. This is a podcast that explores the visionary concept of freedom cities and how we can create living environments that prioritize individual liberty, social harmony, and equal opportunities for all. We look back through history to see how the past informs the future and how people can self-organize in their communities to support self-sufficiency. We also look to develop leaders that are moral and ethical in a world that is spinning out of control. Tune in to be part of the conversation shaping the future of our communities.
Hello, and welcome to Leadership in the 21st Century, where we explore transformative leadership practices that foster unity, empathy, and resilience in a very complex world. I'm Cheryl Johnson, and today we're going to delve into the concept of quiet leadership. It's a refreshing, reflective approach to leadership that's especially relevant in today's world of division and disconnection. In our increasingly noisy and polarized society, the loudest voices often dominate. But quiet leadership offers something profoundly different. It's about leading through subtlety, compassion, and intentionality. It's a leadership style that can help bridge divides, foster trust, and create a harmonious culture where everyone feels valued. So let's start with the fundamental question. What is quiet leadership? Unlike traditional leadership that focuses on authority and assertive influence, quiet leadership centers on humility, empathy, and a commitment to growth. It isn't about control or exerting power. Instead, it focuses on the small, consistent actions that shape a supportive, collaborative environment. As Julian Stodd explains in his Quiet Leadership Guidebook, quiet leadership is about the first 3 steps in a journey, often marked by thousands. It's less about titles and hierarchy and more about our daily interactions, the moments we take to listen, and the kindness we extend. Imagine leadership not as a grand stage, but as an ecosystem, a living space where small gestures of respect, fairness, and humility create a ripple effect that benefit the entire community. In this type of practice, a quiet leader sees the organization as an ecosystem, one where each individual contributes to the whole. By cultivating an environment where people feel seen and valued, quiet leaders foster a deeper level of engagement, connection, and purpose among their team members. So now that we have a picture of quiet leadership, let's talk about how people can cultivate these attributes. The journey to becoming a quiet leader is deeply personal and requires introspection. It begins, obviously, with an understanding of oneself and practicing mindfulness, a key element of conscious and quiet leadership. Here are a couple of steps for developing quiet leadership traits. Number 1, we can practice self-reflection. Quiet leaders spend time regularly reflecting on their actions, intentions, and interactions. This could be as simple as journaling or as structured as sometimes a weekly review of their experiences and insights. This habit of self-reflection is a powerful tool for recognizing one's strengths, areas of growth, and their impact on others. We also need to cultivate empathy and kindness. At the heart of quiet leadership is a commitment to understanding and valuing others' perspectives. Empathy allows leaders to connect on a human level, which fosters trust and opens pathways for meaningful collaboration. This is especially important in diverse teams where each person's voice adds a unique value. And then we can lead with grace and humility. Quiet leaders often adopt a mindset of humility, recognizing that leadership is a shared responsibility. They view their role as a servant to the organization and its people. By prioritizing the needs of the team, quiet leaders create a culture of respect and support where individuals feel empowered to contribute their best work. It's also helpful to engage in mindfulness practices. Mindfulness practices, such as meditation or even just simply breath work, allow quiet leaders to remain centered and calm. This helps them respond to challenges thoughtfully rather than reactively, embodying stability and presence in a way that calms and inspires others. So let me share an experience I had where I was doing my best to cultivate these types of attributes. I had started my own contracting business and I was hiring college students. I had started my own contracting business and hiring college students felt like a leap of faith. Here I was leading a team of young, eager students who were thrilled to have the freedom to work remotely, set their own hours, and make a respectable $20 an hour. For them, it was an opportunity to earn real money while balancing their studies. For me, it was a chance to lead with purpose, offer them a valuable experience, and hopefully guide them through their first steps into the workforce. But as much as I had envisioned the excitement, I hadn't quite prepared for the challenges of leading this kind of a team, and particularly in a remote environment. So, yeah, at first I felt lucky. Some of these students thrived with little to no supervision, submitting their work promptly and with impressive quality. But for others, remote work didn't come so naturally. Without a traditional office space or a direct line of sight, I saw some of them struggle, drifting without guidance and missing deadlines. It was new territory for them and admittedly for me. I'd never managed people in a fully remote environment before, let alone young college students who were balancing academics, social lives, and other personal commitments. When things started going wrong, my initial reaction was frustration. I'd find myself wondering why certain I'd find myself wondering why certain students couldn't stay on task or meet expectations. I felt the weight of the responsibility I had to my clients, and in those early days I was tempted to put the blame on the students for not taking their work seriously enough. But it didn't take long to realize that there was another side to the story. That would be my side, yeah. So the truth was, I hadn't provided enough direction, and I wasn't truly seeing the challenges these students were facing. I needed to pause, humble myself, and consider that maybe I was part of the problem. That realization was a turning point. I made a conscious decision to take a step back and see my young team members as individuals, each with unique needs and strengths. I had to learn how to communicate better, and thankfully, I had some help. My daughter, who was also a college student, became my go-to advisor. She opened my eyes to the daily pressures of being a student and working part-time, especially in a remote environment. She taught me how to adapt my communication style to their world, using simpler, more approachable language and checking in regularly, not just to assign work, but to see how things genuinely were going. One of the most important lessons I learned was empathy. When students missed deadlines or couldn't deliver, I learned to ask questions instead of making assumptions. Sometimes they were simply overwhelmed with exam, group projects, or personal issues that weighed heavily on their minds. There were days when I had to grant grace to remind myself that their commitments outside of my business were just as important as, if not more than, my own work priorities. And it wasn't just about empathy, it was also about kindness. These young people were stepping into a world of responsibility, some for the very first time. I had to be someone they could trust, someone who believed in them. When mistakes happened, and they often did, I began to see them not as failures, but as learning opportunities for both of us. I'd remember the moments I'd stumbled early on in my own career and think, how would I have wanted someone to respond to me? Then came the question of fairness. As a leader, I realized that part of my role was to balance understanding with accountability. I wanted to be fair, to treat each student with respect and patience, but I also needed them to understand the importance of the work they did for me. With my daughter's insights and advice, I found ways to emphasize how each task, no matter how small, contributed to our collective success. I had to instill a sense of purpose in them without demanding it, helping them feel proud of their work rather than feeling as though they were simply fulfilling an obligation. Over time, the changes started showing. Some students who initially struggled began stepping up, feeling more confident and supported. Others who already performed well started to shine even brighter, showing initiative I hadn't seen before. It was a journey that took patience, humility, and a lot of honest reflection. Looking back now, I see that quiet leadership isn't about having all the answers or being perfectly prepared. It's about being willing to learn alongside the people you lead, to meet them where they are, and to grow together. Working with these young people taught me far more than I ever expected. They gave me the gift of perspective, of understanding, and perhaps most importantly, of humility. Because at the end of the day, quiet leadership just isn't about having a loud presence or rigid expectations. It's about creating a space where others feel safe to learn, to make mistakes, and ultimately to find their own path forward. And for that experience, I will always be grateful. So you might be wondering, why is quiet leadership so crucial right now? The truth is, our world is facing extraordinary division, political polarization, social unrest, and even environmental and economic pressures. And in these challenging times, quiet leadership offers a way forward that emphasizes unity over division and collaboration over competition. There's always a time and a space for competition, but I think our world is ready for a more collaborative environment. Quiet leaders recognize that belief Quiet leaders recognize that beneath surface differences there is a shared humanity that can be the foundation for common ground. In environments where people feel divided, quiet leadership offers an approach that is calm, consistent, and grounded in empathy and mutual respect. When we lead quietly, we create a culture where people feel heard, valued, and respected, even if they hold differing viewpoints. This is essential for building bridges, fostering cooperation, and creating inclusive communities. Quiet leadership also plays a crucial role in helping organizations adapt to change. In a world where technological disruptions and evolving societal norms create constant change, quiet leaders help their teams navigate uncertainty by modeling resilience, flexibility, and open-mindedness. So, at its core, quiet leadership is about recognizing the power of small, intentional actions. It's not about making grand gestures, but rather about creating a supportive environment through the simple act of presence. When leaders model respect and patience, others feel safe and open up, share ideas, and work together constructively. So, quiet leadership encourages a we over me mentality that is invaluable for fostering unity. By leading with humility and grace, quiet leaders put the needs of the team above their own. This selfless approach fosters a trust, loyalty, and a sense of community that is essentially in our divided world. One inspiring aspect of quiet leadership is its emphasis on leaving a lasting, positive impact without fanfare or recognition. Quiet leaders create an environment where everyone can flourish, recognizing that the real legacy of leadership lies in the people they've inspired and the culture they've nurtured. By embracing quiet leadership, we not only contribute to our immediate surroundings, but also send a ripple of kindness and integrity into the world. So, as we wrap up today's episode, let's remember that quiet leadership is accessible to each of us. Whether you lead a team or simply want to make a positive difference in your community, quiet leadership invites you to lead through presence, patience, and compassion. In a world where division seems inevitable, quiet leadership is a path to unity, showing us that sometimes the most profound influence comes from the gentlest voice. So thank you for joining me today on this journey into quiet leadership. If you enjoyed this episode, please subscribe, share, and continue exploring how we can each be a force for unity in our own. Thank you for joining me today on this journey into quiet leadership. Until next time, keep leading with kindness, and remember, true leadership starts within.